Brent Daniels, you're up.
Wholesale Hotline number 46. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year to everybody out there that is squatting up, that is commenting in the comments section. If you guys want to, either, everybody's in kind of different groups. So squat up. If you were in Pace's group, go to my YouTube channel. If you're my YouTube channel, go to Pace's YouTube channel. Just find people. I'd love for there to be a way to consolidate all this, but get in there and start really connecting with everybody. We are going to go bananas today. We're going to go. Here's the thing. I think, Pace, this might be the most technical and influential wholesale hotlines that we've ever had, because we've got a ringer. We've got a ringer with us here, and she is going to really lay it down. She's going to really help us cut through all of the BS, all of the stuff that matters, all the stuff that doesn't matter. She's going to keep us organized. She's going to really just change the whole pace. We'll be loud. We'll answer questions. We'll bring our personality. Rashell here is going to really just dump a whole bunch of knowledge on everybody on this evening's wholesale hotline. So it's going to be absolutely incredible. If you want to introduce her, that would be great. I am Brent Daniels. This is Pace Morby. Here we go.
This is Rashell freaking Jarvis from ConstantClose.com, guys. Rashell Jarvis and I, let me tell you about her. She's 15 years in the game. She's my personal transaction coordinator, and she has gone off and built her own company named Constant Close. There's not a state that Rashell has not done a deal in. There's not a type of transaction she's not been a part of. She's been part of agreement for sale. She's been part of novation agreement. She's been part of sub 2, after sub 2, after sub 2, after sub 2, seller finance, hybrids, wraps. She's been part of fix and flip. She's been part of tremendous amount of wholesale transactions. And I think her company, Constant Close, is going to change the way people look at paperwork. She's going to change the way people do business in general. So, right. Rashell Jarvis, welcome to Wholesale Hotline. Jamil Damji, good to see you, brother.
What's up?
Rashell, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you start in this game, and why the hell should anybody listen to what you have to say?
Oh my goodness. My story goes back 15 years. So I've been in the real estate game for 15 years and started off on the traditional side, owned my own business, started off in TC, was lucky enough to, as I like to say, be in line with the universe with Pace and to find him last year so he could help my dreams come to fruition in regards to getting into this creative world. I'm the type of person where I love to be challenging myself all the time. Don't put me in anything monotonous. I go crazy. I like to learn. And so I decide to throw myself in. I tell everybody that knows Pace, he flies. And so I try to keep up with him, and that's just the truth. And so it has been an amazing ride this last year. Super humble, super grateful. Obviously to share this with you guys. You guys were on my board last year when I was looking to get into this world. So when they say, when you think it, believe it, and I know Jamil, Brett, and Daniel, you guys all believe this, it can happen, and here it is, watching you guys and obviously being part of this. So first off, thank you. And in regards to Constant Close, why should you guys do business with us? I feel like we're the only company out there right now. A lot of people call us a TC business, but we're a consultant business. We can help you in any range of your business when it comes to transactions. Our job is to alleviate you guys from doing the paperwork.
Rochelle, explain what TC stands for.
TC stands for Transaction Coordinator. What I'm trying to do with the Constant Close world is come out as more of a consultant. Most transaction coordinators, as you would know, Brent, from the traditional world, they handle executed contracts and then they move it to close. They don't write contracts. They don't write deeds. They don't help you learn how to put things on a contract to protect you as an investor. So we're coming as a professional consultant to alleviate you from that paperwork and to be able to help you start from the beginning to the end, and even after the end when we're talking about like insurance, servicing, all that different stuff. So we have partners, like Pace said, nationally. you come work with us. We have title, escrow, servicing. We got a brand new insurance guy out of Texas, which has been an amazing contact for us. So we're here to alleviate your lives and make everything more peaceful, easier, and allow us to handle everything so you guys can go get more deals. That's the whole thing. You guys need to go.
That is the goal. I
mean,
for us on a transaction coordination standpoint. So for us, I look at it as a conveyor belt. Okay. Rochelle is a massive, massive part of our conveyor belt. I want to go out and get contracts. Okay. Rashell Jarvis, she is the most important part once the deal gets contracted because my team completely is hands off. She coordinates with my private lenders. Rochelle knows all my private lenders by their first name. Rochelle probably knows my bank account, but she definitely has access to my money. She just emails Tony, my bookkeeper, and says, hey, we need to wire this over here. We need this. We need this. You get notaries set up for me. You coordinate with sellers. You overcome objections with sellers, which that is something that is game changing. This is kind of where it came about, guys. About a year and a half ago, my wife was challenged with having a 2-year-old, Corbin, and she was running all of our transactions. She was dealing with all of our rentals. She was dealing with all of our lease options. And my wife's like, I need to get my life back. And so we hired 2 other transaction coordinators. Very long story short, I find Rochelle. The universe delivers Rochelle to me on a silver platter. And I said, Rochelle, are you ready for the ride of your life? Because I promise you're going to come into the pace vortex and opportunities going to fly all over the place. And you get to pick and choose what you want to do. And watching Rochelle over the last 16 to 18 months, I think maybe it's even less time than that because it seems like it's been 10 years that we've known each other.
Right.
Rochelle has absolutely transformed my business. And my wife told me the other day, she says, next time you talk to Rochelle, will you thank her for getting my life back? Because you completely took 3 positions out of my company and allowed my wife to just focus on being our listing agent. So thank you for letting me be a better husband, look cool to my wife, and have more time for my wife and I making more babies, which is the goal of my life right now. So yes. Rochelle is unbelievably epic. There's a lot of really good questions in here. Obviously, we're going to get to Q&A. She does understand every facet of creative finance. I think at this point, it's very rare that you'll actually call me and ask me questions. In the beginning, it was like, hey, I got a question. Hey, I got a question. What happened is those questions went away. And now you'll call me about weird deals. Like you had a deal, one of our students, Kevin Smith, the other day is doing a reverse mortgage sub 2.
Yes.
And it's the first time I've ever ran into a reverse mortgage sub 2 that I would say yes to. And I was like, yes, move forward with the transaction. Other than that, I probably hear from you once every couple of weeks. We say hi to each other because you are a boss. You get shit done. You are unbelievable. So why don't we get into some Q&A? And guys, the questions I would be asking today is, how do I find a perfect title company? How do I know, who I should be working with? Like in Atlanta, for example, we had a horrible closing attorney. We then had to go find another one. Let's talk about some of those things. What does a transaction coordinator do? Great. What does paperwork look like? What are the worst horror stories you have? Let's get into transactions, guys. You guys are learning how to lock up deals, but a lot of times you are losing deals because you're not transacting them properly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's important to note here that I've had the opportunity to see the speed and the heat that Pace works at for the last 3 years, and you give a lot of people opportunities. Pace, you really do give a lot of people opportunities, and the fact is 99% melt under that speed and that heat. They can't handle it, or they overpromise and underdeliver, or whatever else. They just can't handle it. Here's the 1%. Right. Here's the 1% that has stood up to it. And not only that, but has thrived. And I assume you have people that you also train and work with and help in this whole, you have a whole company, right?
Yeah, we're growing. So that's exactly what I'm doing this week is we're training. Got a great connection to Jasmine out of Atlanta. We're in the Keegley office with New Reach, just loving the vibe, loving being there, and we're training. And as business grows, we're growing. So we're super excited about. And part to what you said, Brett, is like the 1%, but all those 15 years was figuring it out and making those mistakes. I made all those mistakes, and I realized the accountability, all the different things you had to do. So when this opportunity came, I could finally, apply myself the way that I needed to. But it definitely was a lot of mistakes in the beginning, learning those lessons.
Yep. Jamil.
I'm just super, first off, the fact that we have, she not only makes the three of us look amazing. Well, she makes us look like crap because she's so beautiful. So that's awesome. But really, guys, we had nothing like a Rashell Jarvis when we were first coming out of the gate, right? The hardest part of navigating this space of wholesale real estate is understanding the mechanics, understanding the paperwork, understanding how to connect with the appropriate title company. What title company am I going to send my deal to that's going to say, you this versus this makes sense to me. Thank you for sending me all the necessary paperwork, and I'll be working with Rochelle to close the deal. I mean, guys, it is like the business model is just getting more streamlined and is getting easier and easier to adapt into. I wish I let me say this. I don't even know if Keegley would have been a thing if Rashell Jarvis, if Constant Close was around, and that, because I wouldn't have needed anybody. I would have felt like I would have needed no one if I had been able to just reach out to a transaction coordinator company to help me navigate all my contracts so that I could continue to do what it was that I loved to do, which is locking up deals and selling them. I just couldn't handle the paperwork. All of it didn't make sense to me. I didn't know if I was the assignee, the assignor, or it's a long time to wrap my head around it all and to get it all done the right way. But guys, it's not just about the contracts. A transaction coordinator keeps the deal moving. There are so many places where a deal can fall into a hole of Never Land, where like it's just not, if somebody's not reaching into that hole to pull the deal out of the hole and progress it further, which is what a true transaction coordinator does, then the deal will sit. And if the deal will sit, it won't close on time or close at all. Yep. And again, it's one of those things that I'm actually thankful it wasn't around, because then Keegley wouldn't be a thing and blah, blah, blah. But Rashell, you're providing such a tremendous value to the space, such a tremendous value to our viewership, my company, Pace's company, and so many others out there. And I beyond anything, I just really want to thank you. I want to thank you for what you do, because it's necessary. It was a completely unknown and unrealized hole in the business, and your timing couldn't have been better.
Can I jump in real quick and answer this question? Rochelle, are you the transaction for Pace for all his markets or just Arizona? So MTPTA. Rashell Jarvis started out, she was doing transactions for multiple people. When I got on the phone with Rochelle, I said, I need you full-time. I need you. And I promise you, I will give you more opportunity you can get your hands on. And she's proved me wrong, because what she ultimately did is she shined inside of our company. And then 6 months later, I told Rochelle, I said, we need to give you more. We need to give you more. We need to give you more. And so I am proud to call her a business partner. What we did is I said, look, either Rochelle needs to be propped up inside of my business, or she needs to go create her own business. So we came up with an idea of Constant Close, but I was too busy, honestly, to run it. And so what we did, ironically, this is so ironic that Jamil brings this up. He said, with a Rochelle, Keegley wouldn't have existed. Ironically, now the founders of Keegley have helped systematize and build the processes behind Constant Close and making Constant Close what it is. And so I said, you know what, I could never do this business justice because of how busy I am with Sub-2 mentorship. What we did is we actually brought Rochelle into the Sub-2 mentorship as a bonus to my students. And I said, guys, this is going to be a major bonus for you. Leverage my transaction coordinator. And we saw how well she handled all these hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of transactions. I can't tell you how many people, if you guys have worked with Rochelle, drop a line in the comments, because we have hundreds of students who love her. She is a game changer. And so we had no choice but to build an entire company around her and let her thrive, which is where Constant Close comes from. So Rashell Jarvis, guys, let me answer this question. She will do transactions in any state in the United States. Doesn't matter if it's a closing attorney state, a title state. It doesn't matter if it's creative finance. Doesn't matter if it's a wholesale, novation agreement, a fix and flip, whatever. Rashell has been part of it. She has been through the gamut on just about everything you can imagine. She is unbelievable. Check this out. Kelly Hanno, by the way, says, Rashell locked up my deal on New Year's Eve. Here's a game changer Rashell will do for the sub 2 students and Astro students and TTP students. I don't know about anybody else. You got to know. Ring that bell. Kelly Hanno. So, Rashell Jarvis has been known for the most part to get on the phone with the seller and walk them through the contract to explain the paperwork when my sub 2 students or other people are like, dude, I don't want to walk through any contract. And Rashell will get on the phone like a cold stone killer and lock up the contract. And a lot of students will say, the reason I got that deal across the finish line was because how damn good Rashell is on the phone. Okay. So again, crazy value, guys.
Let me just, because I think we understand this very well. Okay. And I think a lot of people on here understand the process very well, but there could be some people that don't really understand what Rashell does. So let me just walk this through real quick. And then Rashell, you pick up where I leave off. Okay.
All right.
So we go out there as real estate investors, as bright-eyed. We've got stars in our eyes. We're going out there. We find an ugly house, and then we skip trace that house, or we knock on that house through batch skip tracing or batch driven, and we have a conversation. We have a quality conversation with the distressed property owner, and then from there we pre-qualify them and understand that we can help them out. Okay, that's what we're doing so far. We're just being humans. We're just talking out there. We're just talking to distressed property owners. And then from there, we follow up with them. Maybe they're not ready yet. We follow up with them. We go to their house and we convert it. They sign a contract. They want to work with us. They like our price. They like our terms, and they like us. Now we have a signed contract. Rashell, what happens?
You know what? To be honest with you, I come in way before that. So I come in right when they have an agreed terms with the seller, and the seller says, yeah, I'm interested. That's when they call me up. And due to these creative deals, they're like a thumbprint. There's no template. Everybody asks me for a template to send them, and there's not. They call me to structure it right on the purchase contract. For my clients, I'm looking out for their protection. With my, background as being a listing agent and real estate agent, I know how to structure these things that one is going to look appealing to the buyer, and also is going to add protection for my client. So we actually get on the contract and we structure it together. And before we even go over it with the seller, I go over it with the person that hired me. My job is to help you learn. If you want to be with me in business in the future, let's do it. But if you don't, I want you to walk away being better than when you met me. So we go through the contract, we're learning, then we go to the seller call. Jump on the seller call with me. We can freeway you in. Then we close the deal. We go through the contract. We talk with attorneys. We make edits. We do whatever we need to do to make sure that we have that high level of transparency, making sure that the buyer feels comfortable, that the seller feels comfortable. And then we try to execute right when we're right on that call, send it DocuSign. And then after that, we open up title. We go into escrow, we open up title.
So wait a second.
Rashell, I'm going to let Brent continue to ask you questions, but I want to get your email out so I can continually poke and prod people. I want to destroy your email inbox today. So Rashell at constantclose.com. Is that right?
Yes.
That's RASHELL at constantclose.com, correct?
Correct.
All right, guys, we're going to put that on the screen. It's going to stay there for a little bit. I see nearly 400 people watching this live. I want Rashell to have 400 emails in there. Blast her. Ask her, when can we talk? I have a contract. I need help. Will you help me? By the way, one thing she's not going to give you, I'm so sorry, she is not going to give you my sub 2 paperwork. That is for sub 2 students only, but she will help you through sub 2 transactions, even if you're not a sub 2 student, okay? Right. She will also give you a discount if you're a sub 2 student, an Astro student, and a TTP student. Okay. So reach out to Rashell, let her know you're a sub 2 student, an Astro student, or a TTP student, And Rashell and I, by the way, somebody asked this question a little bit ago, said, are you going to be creating some training? Rashell and I are actually going to put a set of modules together for her to add to Astro, have her add to other coaching programs like TTP, all about handling transactions even if you don't hire her, she will bring you massive value by adding value to your coaching program. So Rachelle's amazing. I will let Brent handle it, but guys, email her right now. Even if you don't have a contract, email Rashell at constantclose.com so that you have her information saved. So in 2 weeks, when you get a contract, you don't go, oh my gosh, what was her contact information? Save her email by sending her one. And if you're a sub 2 Astro or TTP student, please let her know that so she can give you our discount for being one of the students.
Yep.
Awesome. So you're saying I've got a hot lead. I call somebody in your company or email or whatever it is, and they'll write the purchase contract.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
they'll send it to me if I want to present it in person.
Yep, we'll send it to you. We'll handle it any which way you want. If you're in the beginning and you want someone to kind of walk you through it, we will send it over to the seller and jump on a call together.
Huge.
Yeah.
Pace, how do I not know about this?
I've been yelling about it for a year. Well, here's why you haven't heard about it. I kept it to myself for like 4 or 5 months. I brought it in my sub 2 mentorship, and she was able to start scaling and hiring people underneath her, right? She mentioned Jasmine recently. She has been doing this for the sub 2 students for the last 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that we were proving out her business model with the sub 2 students and bringing massive bonus value to those students. But now Rashell has scaled and she's hiring people underneath her to the point where now she's branching to Astro, she's branching to TTP students, giving discounts, and she's growing nationwide. So it's fully available to the public, even though the general public doesn't get a discount. Only active students in TTP, Astro, and sub 2 get it.
Right.
Awesome. And then from there, the contracts get signed, and then do we send them back to you and you open up title? Do you send it to the title or closing attorney? Like, where does the next step take place?
Yeah, I'm there the whole way. So once it gets executed, I send it to either your closing attorney or to my referral network. If you don't have one, I have someone that I can send it to. We open up escrow, request earnest money, wire. We do everything. We wait for the preliminary title report to come in, and then we teach you how to go through a preliminary title report. We look at the Schedule Bs, we look at what you need to look out for. And those are the last most definite numbers to know. Is this a deal? Is this not a deal? Is there any memorandums? Is there liens? Things of that sort. And then every step of the way. And then your disposition. What are you going to do on your disposition? Are you going to wrap it? Are you going to sign it? When that comes in, we help you again with that paperwork. Make sure you have the right paperwork. Make sure that it's written on there right. And there's different laws depending upon the different states. They want things differently because we've done deals in every state. We know how to tweak it here and there. We make sure that you're set up right, and then we execute it with your end buyer. The neat thing about working with Constant Close is when you have an end buyer, they get to work with us also. So I have a lot of end buyers that are not in sub 2 or TTP or Astro flipping, where I can educate them on insurance and on servicing, and they end up becoming private money lenders, or they end up saying, how can I do this? How can I get involved with this? You guys know it's a people business. So we're here to serve and provide value to every part of the transaction and everybody involved.
Here's an interesting question. I brought this up on Clubhouse a little bit earlier. King Edward says, "Hey, Pace, on Clubhouse, you mentioned something about stalling a foreclosure for 45 to 120 days. Can you deep dive on that?" Rashell, how many freaking foreclosures have you stalled or extended for my company? Probably 50 in the last 6 months.
Yeah, it's been quite a few. So I can't even remember how many, but luckily,
what is the let's go through the process here in Arizona specifically. We had a deal, I don't know, maybe 30 days ago that our team locked up, and foreclosure was happening in like 2 or 3 days. So it was like right on the wire. What do you do in that situation, and why should I hire you to help me out?
I think it's because I know the expectations. I know what the lenders are looking for, and I know what the hiccups that you're going to get. So I can provide that value of saying, hey, these are the things that you need to do, and this is what you need to be prepared for. When you're, and it was a deal that we had with Matt Beard, And I think it was going to auction in 3 days. So I knew all the information that I needed to gather. I knew the amount of the purchase price. If you don't have the right purchase price amount on there, they won't even look at your offer. We got to be a little bit conservative and add about another $10,000 over that. Explain to the seller what a mock service, what a mock purchase contract is. This is not the actual contract we're going to go to escrow with. So I gather all the information that you need to make sure it gets done the right way. And I instruct you on who do you talk to with the trustee? Who do you talk to with the lender? You're not going to talk to a customer service agent. You're going to go to loss mitigation. Who's the trustee? How many avenues of communication can we get? And you're relentless and you follow up and until they get sick of you and they say, yes, we pushed it off 30 to 45 days. And then we start on your disposition.
It is an insane process that was taking my wife all day long with the amount of foreclosures we were buying last year. Do you remember like October, November, December of last year, we bought like 18, 17, 19 sub twos, like month after month after month. It was like stopping foreclosures every single day. It is tremendous the value you bring. It is stupid the value you bring. And in my opinion, I would never, for me personally, I would never transaction coordinate any of my own stuff because the value you bring. Here's the other thing that's crazy. You'll get people that will say, what's the price? What's the price? What my sub 2 students started doing is they started, when they dispoed and assigned their deal, they would have their buyer pay for the transaction fee that Rochelle would charge. So essentially, when you structure it properly, and Rochelle can help you guys understand this, reach out to Rochelle. She's basically free when you understand how to use her service.
Right.
So wait, Ongo Inc. said, hold on, if I find a seller in Colorado, all I got to do is call Rochelle? She'll take it from there? I don't need any paperwork? What's the answer to that, Rochelle?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, let me tell you.
You know what? No. That's the perfect answer. Come on.
Guys, here, hold on. We got 390 people watching live right now. Why do we not have 500 people watching live? This is crazy value.
Everybody,
guys,
share this on your Facebook right now. If you guys plan to use Rochelle in the new year to help you with your transactions, she's going to be able to see who shared this, and she's not going to do a deal for you if you don't share this on your Facebook right now. Share this on your Facebook right now so everybody you know can see how amazing that you're, first of all, a real estate investor. Secondly, that you watch Wholesale Hotline. And third, that Rashell Jarvis is a badass and it's going to help you get your deals done.
Guys, look at her email on the screen. It's scrolling. I'm going to have it scroll across the bottom. It's Rochelle@constantclose.com. Destroy this girl's email. Destroy it. Make her wish she never came on Wholesale Hotline because our Wholesale Hotline squad shows up. Let's get this over to 450 viewers, guys. We're right at 400.
Share it.
Let's go.
And welcome to all of you from Clubhouse that came in today. We've got some new viewers that had no idea what Wholesale Hotline was and joined us from Clubhouse onto the stream today. So welcome, guys. This is where the value is.
Yeah.
And let me just touch on this, guys, because this is critical. You know, I've broken down 17 different steps, and we're just talking wholesale. Obviously, with creative financing, a lot of different parts there, and a lot of different expertise to learn from Pace. But with a wholesale deal, I've broken it down into 17 different steps. But the most important thing that we're talking about here is the creative avoidance that comes and creeps into our business because we get a deal, we love this deal, we've sold this deal. Now we're going to babysit this deal because I'm making $12,570. I am not going to lose that. I'm going to be talking to the title. I'm going to be learning everything that there is to know about. And by the way, this is my experience. This is exactly what I did in 2004, 5, and 6 for 3 years. This is what I did. I wanted to know every nuance, everything. And every single year was the same amount of production. All right. Because you get caught up. You get caught up in all of these other parts of a transaction that are not income producing activities. All right. Our job is to go and solve the problems of a distressed property owner in our marketplace. Our job is not to understand whatever Rashell just told us about Schedule B of the title report or something. You know what I mean? Like, let's rock and roll with this thing. This is going to free up everything. There is no excuses. Now you've got Dispo. People are talking about it, Jamil. You got Dispo with Keegley, like that is, taking over the country. Now you've got somebody that's doing transaction coordination that takes care of all the rest. I mean, all we have to do is get leads and convert them.
Mm-hmm.
TTP, baby. TTP to Rochelle, to Keegley, and your deal is done.
Yeah.
Ring the bell, Brent. Ring the bell. Craziness.
It's awesome though. Just like hearing your guys's every Monday about the squatting up and the collaboration. I sat in Keeley's office, and in the last part of my call, it was, who do I hook up with Dispo? And it was able to just run down the office, figure out who the person was, and just, I hope people see the value of, like what had just said, of being able to get everything that you need and squatting up and collaborating, and everybody focusing on their superpowers. You don't need to know every detail of transaction coordinating. Let someone handle that. Go out and close more deals,
Yep.
And I think it's amazing.
Here, guys, I keep getting a question about price. Okay, I'm going to solidify this one last time because I'm not a believer in talking about price. I'm a believer in talking about value. So let's talk about something real quick. Okay, it's kind of like when people are like, hey, are you going to give a discount for sub 2 for the holidays? I was like, yeah, your discount's twice the price because I'm going to quadruple the value. That's your price. Here's the thing. Craig Rogers asked a great question. Is there a set fee for constant close, or is it a percentage? It is a set fee, but at the end of the day, you will be educated by Rochelle if you reach out to her via email how to structure it to have your buyer pay her fee. So stop worrying about what that fee is and just reach out to her. Stop worrying about you know how many times I've read my own paperwork? I have my attorney, Sean St. Clair, who Rochelle knows very, very well. We do multiple Zooms with my attorney, Rochelle, and the sub 2 students going line by line by line by line through the paperwork, just in case a sub 2 student doesn't want to hire Rochelle. But for me, oh my gosh, my time is way better spent going out and creating more contracts for Rochelle to transact. I don't waste any of my time doing that because that's where I suck. Rochelle excels at that. So let her do her job, structure it in a way where the fee is free for you. Reach out to Rochelle and say, Rochelle, how can I structure this so that my buyer pays for your fee instead of me? Yep. Send her an email at rochelle@constantclose.com and she will answer the price question to you directly.
I have a question for you, Rochelle.
Yeah.
So one of the harder parts of this business is navigating title companies, closing attorneys. It's difficult sometimes to find a title company or a closing attorney that will do an assignment or will do a double close or do a sub 2. Have you already vetted these relationships, and are they nationwide?
Absolutely. So we have title questions, just like you have a pre-qualification script when you go see a seller. Me and Jess went over that today. Who are we talking to? What are we asking them? What are some things we're learning through our deal? So we make sure our partners are an extension of our business. So we're not going to refer to someone that we know isn't going to be able to close the deal, isn't going to have the right type of communication. So we absolutely vet everybody that we refer you guys to in regards to escrow, closing attorneys. So yes, absolutely.
So it's important that they actually reach out to you and form a relationship with you prior to getting out and actually getting their deal locked up, because they're going to want to know what title or closing company they're going to put on that contract. Or you're going to help them with that process anyways, but they should likely reach out to you before they even start doing lead gen. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if, you're opening up a market. If you're opening up a market in Atlanta or Florida, I have some deals in Alaska. I mean, we keep saying it over and over. This is a people business. You need to start nurturing those relationships. You need to, as a referral, there's a lot of things that come from nurturing a relationship. And so absolutely, they should reach out and ask. So.
Beautiful.
Yep.
I want to answer this one because Justin has asked this a couple times on other lives, and it's not regarding transaction coordinating, but I'm going to be very honest about my business. Brent might answer this differently. I am not your attorney. I am not your person that's giving you advice. I'm telling you what I do in my business. I do not waste a second of my time scrubbing for the DNC. That's my personal business. I do not waste my time scrubbing for the DNC, but I do scrub for known litigators. People have proven to be litigious. We do that through batch leads. You can get a batch leads discount by using Squad Up. I don't waste my time on the DNC list. We call every number as long as they're not a litigator. So DNC, we call the hell out of that list. I'm sorry. Cuff me. Throw me in prison. We call the DNC list. We do not call the litigators scrubbed list. Justin, hopefully that answers your question.
Justin knows. Yeah. Yeah, we do. We scrub our list. We scrub it against both, especially the litigator. That's the biggest one. Telemarketing attorney will tell you that we're in a gray area, and the more and more and more calls that people are making, the more they're going to go after really big operations and try to get some kind of legislation of what is calls for real estate investing. Right now, they don't know. So there you go.
So some conflicting viewpoints there. Pace says scrub against litigators, but call the DNC. Brent says scrub against litigators and scrub against the DNC. You guys decide.
There you go.
That's it. It's your business. I'm just telling you what I do in my business. We do not waste a second on the DNC personally. But Brent,
great question.
Legally, probably right. But for us, we haven't been in trouble, so we're going to keep doing it.
I want some questions about like structuring something or paperwork, or I mean, we always get these questions, right? We never have Rochelle here to answer it, and we're like, well, we kind of do this and that, and we're not attorneys, but this is what we do, and that's
well. Somebody asked, and I can't see the question, but do we need a title company if we have Rochelle? Rochelle.
Right.
Well, it all depends on what kind of deal you have. We can self-perform some paperwork. So we all know that some FHA deals, there's some title companies and closing attorneys that won't touch those. So do you need a title company at that point in time? No, we can do everything a title company can do. We can write up deeds, promissory notes. We can set up mobile notaries, teach you how to record within your county. Generally, do we like to go through title? Absolutely. That title insurance piece is really important, especially if you're going to be selling that property. So it's all depending on the deal. But my, first thing would be absolutely we need to go through title, get that prelim, the title insurance, all of that sort. But if it happens, we have those scenarios all the time where we got to close it. Things have to happen. Or if it's an FHA, we can do everything that title does.
Here's a good question right here. Ryan Peterson.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Asked a good question, and Liana basically asked the same question as well because I already know the answer because I talk to you all the time. In fact, Rochelle and I were talking about creating training videos over the next couple of months to make her job a little bit easier because of the questions she gets. Like, she'll get people calling her and asking her to like underwrite deals for her. And like, that's Keegley's job, or that's Pace's job for if it's a sub 2 student. Rochelle, what is your biggest pet peeve with newbie investors? That's a horribly asked question. I know where he's aiming. You're way more politically correct than that. What would you like newbie investors to know before they come to you? What would be helpful for them and be helpful for you? That's probably a better way to ask that question.
I would say the number one thing that comes to my mind is one thing that I see with newbies, what I feel like is very common is just the fear of taking action. And that's something that I see all the time. So there's a side of, me and Pace talk about this, the systems, transaction coordinating, all those things that are very important. But I feel like even if you have those things, sometimes the mindset is the thing that's very crippling to individuals. So I honestly feel like have the right expectation. Don't be so hard on yourself. I get a lot of the nature of the business is the follow-up, guys. The nature of the business is not all deals are going to go through. And the thing that I hear commonly all the time is, Rochelle, what's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. This is part of the business. So I think having the right expectations of one, what our relationship is going to be like and kind of the nature of the business, I think would help things move along faster. And then also, we have a lot of resources out there, especially if you're in the sub-2 group. Please go watch those videos. I want to get to everybody. I want to answer every question, but I am one person. So all of the contracts, the videos about what constant close is, please access those videos. We use that so you guys can access them whenever you want, because then we do get the same questions all the time. Then people feel like I'm ignoring them. I'm not ignoring them, but it's just answering the same question over and over. So please look for the answer. And then if you can't find the answer, then come to me.
I think that's a great explanation. Other businesses that we own, even my acquisition department, Cody and I took Sunday off yesterday from taking it off. I didn't take Sunday off. Usually my Sundays are like family day, but yesterday I spent my whole day recording video for people's job descriptions, because we were having issues where people like weren't doing small parts of their job. And it's like, I know we've talked about this 100 times. You know what? I guess we got to make a video and put it up on trainual.com so people can reference it. They can rewatch the video multiple times. The challenges that Rochelle's talking about is in sub-2, we have had her and Sean St. Clair, my personal attorney, and also we've had Scott Horn and other amazing guests. We've had in fact, this Friday, my personal CPA, Dustin Griffiths, is coming in on Friday for a bonus Zoom. And then we've had due on sale clause insurance companies. We've had my personal insurance provider for my sub-2 is in seller finance stuff. Rochelle, myself, and the insurance guy have done 100 hours recorded Zooms collectively. So what happens is when somebody asks a question and it's been answered 45 times, Rochelle then has to say, I need to answer you, but I also need to do this transaction. So what she's going to be doing a lot more in the future is telling people, go watch the recordings, go watch the recordings. And it's the same thing for the recordings she's doing for Astro, and the same recordings that she'll do for the TTP students. If you guys let her, is she will walk through everything you should know before you, get things going, and what she does and what she can and cannot do, so that you have everything laid out for you. Those things are currently already recorded for sub-2. So I see some of the questions she gets asked, and I'm like, I actually tell Rochelle from time to time, don't answer that student because they already have the answer. Let me answer them and give them a slap on the wrist and say, go watch that recording that we've spent so much time on. So that's probably the hardest part of your job, to be honest.
Right. Exactly. Want to get to everybody, but it can only be at one place at one time. So it can be hard.
So this is exactly my point. So at the very beginning of this podcast, and I know people come and they go, and not everybody can tune into the whole entire podcast. I get that. But this question has already been answered 3 or 4 times. And so this is the hardest part about being professional is, the number one compliment I get on a daily basis. Does anybody know what that compliment is, Jamil or Brent? Do you think it's that I work hard or I'm a great closer?
Handsome beard stubble.
No, my number one compliment people give me that are in the sub-2 program, they say your patience in terms of answering questions over and over and over and seeming genuinely interesting is like on another level.
Yeah.
I have probably answered the same question 300 times, but I love every minute of it because it doesn't deter me from my job. That is my job, is to make sure you're coached. The challenge with Rochelle is that when she has to answer those questions 300 times, it actually deters her from her job, which is why we have recording. So the question is Rochelle and her team able to close deals in Texas? Not sure if this question has been answered, just got on. That is my point. People come and they go and they miss this. Rashell Jarvis can close any type of deal in any state across the entire United States. Guys,
how do you set that up? I mean, 18 months, 16 to 18 months. How do you just network and connect and just like boom, boom, boom? I mean, that's incredible.
Rochelle, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
If a deal doesn't close, typically, with title officers and transaction coordinators, if a deal doesn't close, nobody gets paid because no funds get transferred and there's no funds in the file. How does that work with Constant Close?
That's a great question, and that's a question I get asked all the time. So here's the scenarios that I've come across. I'm trying to figure out how we can position ourselves as we are transaction consultant professionals. We are very heavy in the beginning. So normally with TCs, and I'm sure you guys know this, Brett knows this from the traditional world, they get paid on the back end normally when you close a deal. Because we're so involved in the beginning, and we all know it's not a deal until you execute that contract, we get paid up front. So because of how much work we put in, we still feel like we deserve to get paid, but it is per scenario. Unfortunately, we have offered credits, and most of the people are great with it, but then you always get those couple of people that will just keep throwing you deals until they can close a deal. So unfortunately, with Constant Close, we have to create a standard. We have to be fair with everybody, and we disclose that up front. Obviously, if you submitted and something happened and we didn't have any interaction, that's a different scenario. But I want you guys to understand how involved we are in the beginning, and our time's got to be paid for too. We're professionals. We put a lot of time into not just getting the contracts, but helping you learn them. All of that has happened before we find out, maybe your seller ghosts us. And here's the thing. I wish people are on here. If Jathan Rodriguez is on here, all of the sub-2 students, how many of your deals have come back? Lots of them are like 3-4 months. It's the follow-up. And then they say, hey, you remember that contract from Lakehurst? That seller that ghosted me? Well, he's back, and he wants to sign a contract. He's ready to go. He didn't do so well in the retail market. Then they've already paid for that fee. So there's a lot of different reasons, and I'm glad you asked that question so I could explain why. So we tried, that's the standard, is we don't do credits because of the different scenarios that we had in case it's something different to where we didn't have any interaction or something like that. So that's kind of how we've handled it so far.
Amazing.
Yeah. Great question.
So
Let's see. We've got, there's
all real quick. Is it all paid up in the beginning and then you're good?
Yep. And then
For
you're
the rest of the transaction.
For the rest of the transaction, we're talking
Fantastic.
acquisition, disposition, and
which is crazy because
buyer.
you know how nasty and hairy these bad boys can get.
Yeah, some of them take hours and hours. Now, I didn't know if there was this is for whatever, 10 hours or 5 hours or this and that. So this is, if something gets real hairy, and it sticks around for like 6 months.
And that happens.
I know it does. I'm dealing with one that's been like a year and a half.
Oh my goodness. Especially with these novation deals, they're doing all the rehab and everything during escrow. I mean, we're talking, you're hanging out with us for a good 60 to 90 days, maybe 120 days. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. Awesome.
Ooh, you bring up a funny word, novation. So you help with novation contracts and deals as well, Rashell?
Yep, absolutely.
What is a novation?
So a novation contract is basically, a lot of people like to close on the home when they're going to fix and flip it. So instead of closing on it, we get the right required documentation to have a power of attorney and the right documentation where the seller gives you interest in the property to be able to do the rehab during the escrow process. So what happens is you go and execute your contract with the seller. You figure out the purchase price you're going to sell it at with them, their proceeds, get all of that lined up, get the power of attorney signed, all the novation agreement signed, and then you go in and you start doing your rehab. You want to get in and out of there as quick as possible, and then you go to the retail market. We put it with a listing agent, get a listing agreement signed, and then everything over that purchase price is your proceeds that you make as a buyer. So it's just basically doing the rehab during the escrow process.
I had a sub-2 student named DJ Martin in the very beginning of our mentorship. I remember, Jamil, you remember the week we went up to Flagstaff as a family? We were playing those Jackbox games. That was the week we launched the sub-2 mentorship. And I had a student that comes in, his name's DJ Martin. And he was actually the main reason why I brought Rashell Jarvis into the mentorship. He started talking about a deal and I go, oh, that sounds like a novation agreement. You need to go and do that. Nobody knew what a novation agreement was. So I go, let me have my transaction coordinator help you and we'll get this thing across the table. What happened is all the sub-2 students were like, wait, dude, this is like a $10 million mentorship. You're going to bring your personal transaction coordinator to the table? So Rashell walks DJ Martin through the deal. He made $81,000 on his very first deal a week into the deal. Novation agreements are amazing because you don't need to purchase the property. You don't need hard money. You're not taking over any sort of debt. You're just the seller is letting you fix and flip their property, and you're locking in a price with them. They get that price when you sell the home. They keep the mortgage in place. There's no closing costs. There's none of that on the front end. It saves you $10,000, $12,000 minimum, and it allows you to do a lot more deals on the fix and flip side. A lot of people don't understand novation agreements because they don't do them. I've seen people do like coaching programs around novation agreements. They've never done them. Novation agreements are only meant for fix and flippers. Do not do a novation agreement to hold it. A novation agreement is a temporary time frame with the seller where the seller lets you renovate their property and sell it on the open market if you lock in a price that they were happy with. DJ, this was a crazy deal because Rachelle this house was in foreclosure. Rachelle extended the foreclosure like 4 or 5 months, gave DJ Martin the ability to fix and flip the property without buying it. And he made $81,000 effing dollars. Got
the seller more money for their property.
Yep.
Guys, why is the news not talking about how much value wholesalers in these situations bring to the marketplace?
And just real quick, what situation do you run into, Pace, where somebody wants to sell a property and partner with you, a stranger, to fix up their house and sign all this paperwork? I mean, what's going on with these sellers? I mean, do they want more for their property? Do they not want to just take
the same pain? They have the same pain as all other wholesaler sellers, but the difference is have you ever had a deal where you're just like $5,000 or $7,000 off? And if you could just figure out how to get it for that much cheaper, you could sell it. That's what a novation agreement is meant for. You go to the seller and you tell him, hey, I'm really close on this number, but the reality is I can't make this work because there's not enough meat on the bone. And one of the reasons why there's not enough meat on the bone is because my upfront acquisition cost, hard money, fees, close of escrow, insurance costs, freaking title insurance, lenders policies, all these things kill me up on the upfront. But if I don't have to do those and you let me hold the mortgage open where I don't actually have to close on it, I can just renovate it. We can get you your number. That's when you use a novation agreement. So I can tell you there are so many sellers that run into this situation where they're like, every wholesaler is offering me 150, but I owe 156. And you look at it and you go, this house could sell for 210 if I just throw it on the market, but I got to buy it at 150 with a hard money loan, or I could pay 160 without a hard money loan. You go for the novation agreement if you don't have to acquire it with a hard money loan.
But don't you have to have like a lot of money to be able to make the repairs to these properties, Pace?
I mean, personally, no. I mean, Rochelle knows this. She handles all my transactions. Rochelle, do I use any of my own money on any transaction whatsoever?
Nope.
So wait, you can raise money to pay for repairs on a slam dunk deal that the owner wants to work with you on, and it's called novation?
Yeah. Yep. So this is the crazy thing. You can get a seller that lets you take over you don't even take over the property. They just say, yeah, if you can give me 155 and get me out of the deal, I'll let you renovate the property, and you pay the utilities and the mortgage along the way. For a while, the way Cody and I were doing it before I went and raised a bunch of money is we would go get our Chase or our American Express card, and we would go to Plastique, which is a website, or Stripe is another one. You go to Plastique and you can swipe your card online and they'll mail you a check for your credit card balance. So I can cash that check and go buy Home Depot supplies, pay payroll, get the construction done. And that's what a lot of people do when they get into fixing and flipping is they'll go get a credit card at 0%, get a check drawn off that credit card, pay for all the renovation, sell the property, get all their money plus all their profit. And when DJ Martin, was his first freaking deal, $81,000. He sent me a screenshot of the wire transfer. I was like, bro, congratulations. It's amazing. He goes, that's it? I go, bro, this is not unique. People do this all the time. I want you to understand that this is something you should expect. These deals are out there all over the place. You just need to know how to find them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I would say if you're just starting out, guys, and you don't have a ton of construction experience, find the properties that need lipstick. You know, they need paint, they need carpet, they need trash out, they need, you know, some new fixtures installed, they need new appliances. They don't need, you know, $70,000 worth of work unless you're experienced with that or have somebody that you have that is experienced with that. But it's a lot easier going to your friends and family and people around and say, hey, I've got this great deal. I need $10,000 to be able to fix it up, and then we can split the profits, or I can give you a percentage or an interest rate on that money. Whatever it is to structure it. These are for the deals that are close. They're close, but they're not there. They're not where you want them to be, but they're close. There's potential there. There's enough spread there if the seller is willing to work with you. So you have another option. That's the beauty about real estate. You can move and do different things, right? But this is a great option for something that is a property that needs a little bit of love, that has a good spread, but not quite the spread that you need to be to wholesale it. So this is a great option. And if you don't know the paperwork, if you don't know the legality, if you don't know how to spell novation, or have never heard it before, you've got a gal sitting here in the bottom that knows what she's doing there. So there you go.
Guys, we're getting a lot of these comments. Hold up. I didn't even know that was possible. Stripe, and what was the other one? Plastique is the other one. I get a lot of, we're seeing a lot of comments on here as well. Daniel says, I need a deep dive on novation agreements. I feel like I've left a lot of money on the table. Guys, this is why I'm going to yell from the rooftops. You learning novation agreements inside of my mentorship is worth millions of dollars of information. If you have not joined sub2.com, it's not Sub2, it's not seller finance, it's not novations, it's not wraps, it's not fix and flips, it's all of it. So guys, get your head out of the sky and let's learn some real estate. This is something that happens all the time. Rashell can help you with it. It will change your business. You do one novation agreement, out of all the dead leads you have right now as just being a wholesaler, and that's the only thing you're looking at, you do one novation agreement a year, you make $40,000, $50,000. Dude, are you freaking joking me? You need to understand novation agreement. And if you're a new Sub2 student, which I have a couple of new ones in here that just joined in the last couple of weeks, we have probably recorded 40 or 50 hours on novation agreements and have probably close to 100 students that have done them in the last 6 months. So you have support. Go into the Sub2 private Facebook group and start tapping into people that are doing them.
Do you guys mind if I answer this one real quick as a guilty pleasure?
I need to talk less, so please take over.
No, as a guilty pleasure, because I love this, because I was looking at it and I was doing the math in my head and then I was writing it down because I'm not that smart. Here it is. First of all, Baller Z, 3 deals. I mean, absolutely fantastic. There you go. You got 3 deals.
Ring the bell.
Huh?
Ring the bell.
Well, I don't want to ring the bell because I want to know how much he made, because that'll make all this math make sense. So Baller Z sitting there playing a guitar or reading. I don't know what that is. He looks topless in the picture. Looks nice. Looks like a handsome fella. Anyway, put how much you made on this, because 12,000 calls takes you about 80 hours. So it took you 26 hours to get a deal. About 20 hours is kind of the national average, just depending on which list you're calling. If you're calling absentee owner lists, if you're calling driving for dollars, if you're calling tired landlords or tired multifamily landlords, then you're a little bit off. But it's your first year, all right? I'd like to see that under 20 hours to get a deal. But you did 3 deals in 80 hours. So I'm curious to know how much you made off that, to know how much you made per hour that you made calls. And sometimes I feel like I'm not producing enough. Great. That is a great place to be. Being hungry in this business is one of the most critical factors. All right. Hunger. Build it. Keep going. And listen, 99% of the people on here are not going to make 12,000 calls themselves. So that is absolutely incredible. I hope he didn't disappear. I hope we got you know what? I'm going to ring the bell for him anyway. Whatever. I'm going to ring the bell for him anyway, just for doing that.
Guys, we have nearly 450 live viewers, by the way. So thank you so much for sharing, commenting. I really, really appreciate you guys. I'm going to give you guys
you made 92.50
one more time. It's scrolling across the bottom of the screen, Rochelle at constantclose.com. Do her a favor. I want to see 450 emails in her email inbox. I want her to stay up all night long replying to all of you guys.
Real quick, Jamil, he made $92.50 on 3 deals. If he were to go and consult, have a nice call with a Keegley franchisee or somebody around you, right? Then he would know where he needs to lock up these properties at, right?
He could have, that 92.50 could have been 40 grand.
Easy.
Just saying,
But
easy.
just in that 92.50, $115 an hour. $115 an hour he's making those calls. Keep it going. I want that to be $1,500 an hour. Squad up with somebody that can help you with dispo. Squad up with somebody that can help you with the numbers there. Maybe it was just, a little bit leaner deals because he sold it to the same person over and over. So let Keegley help you out there. Woo!
Beautiful. Beautiful. You guys, 450 people on here. Everybody, make sure you're showing appreciation for all the gems that Rashell is bringing to the table here. All of this amazing information, all these things that we didn't know that we could do. Well, we knew, but you guys didn't know. And share. Make sure you're liking, loving this video. Share it on your Facebook pages so that everybody knows that you're a real estate investor. You watch Wholesale Hotline, and you know what a novation agreement is.
Yeah.
And I think it was really important, Pace, you touched on it earlier, postponing pre-foreclosures or postponing the foreclosure auction date. I think I think more and more people are running into that. And I think that if foreclosures start popping up more, people are going to still wait to the very last minute to make a decision. So it kind of puts us under the gun. So we have to be really good at extending that auction date. What I'm talking about, people, just to bare bones this, somebody owns a property. They got a mortgage on the property. They can't make that mortgage payment after 90 days or whatever. It just depends. The mortgage company is going to put them in pre-foreclosure. They're going to give them a certain amount of time to catch back up with that payments, or they're going to auction the property off either to an individual investor, or they're going to take it back and own it as what's called an REO, a real estate owned. That's when the bank owns the property. Now that auction date, if you talk to who do you talk to? A trustee, somebody else? What is it different in different states? Mortgage states are different, right?
Yep, different state. Yep.
So who do you talk to postpone that?
The lenders. You can get the trustees involved to help push it along. The lenders are the ones that make the decision to postpone the auction.
And the lenders' numbers are on some piece of mail that the owner has received 1,000 times.
Google. M&T Bank. You just gotta, get the customer service number. You try to get to the loss mitigation department or the pre-foreclosure department, and making sure you're talking to the right person. Yep.
And you give them the loan number and you say, hey, this is the situation. Can we get it postponed?
Absolutely. We get an authorization signed with that mock purchase contract. That way we can be in control of that conversation and be able to push off that auction. Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense because banks love owning property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, guys, honestly, banks do not want to foreclose on that property. They don't want to auction it off. They want to, and they work they have been under so much, negative press of kicking people out of house. They want to do everything they can to not foreclose on a property. 100%. It's just most people don't reach out.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I've been saying this since the beginning, but don't expect there's going to be a wave of foreclosures, guys. There's going to be a wave of loan mods. Let's not get it twisted. There's no wave of foreclosures. There's going to be a wave of loan mods. The banks aren't trying to take assets back. You're going to have to learn this stuff. Don't wait for this guy or that guy to tell you the sky is falling. You are in the hottest real estate market of all time, and it's going to keep going there. The next 2 years, it's only going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. We have private equity. We have hedge funds in the business that are buying up America. The American dream is no longer to own a home. The American dream is now being able to rent your home and have a life. That's what's happening. That's where America is moving to. So get with the times and understand what we are living in. Now is the time to understand this stuff. Now is the time to learn.
Fun fact, in 1921, 100 years ago, there was 106 million Americans. There's now 331 million Americans in 100 years. People need housing. People need housing. Not only do people need housing, the government literally gives you props on your taxes, on your tax liability if you own property. All right, and especially if you provide housing for these 331 million people. And listen, there's 28 million investors. There's 28 million people that own rental properties. All right, I'm telling you, this business is absolutely incredible. Real estate is, I mean, we live in a country that just keeps expanding and expanding. I don't know, whatever. Fun fact.
Somebody asked real quick, Pace. I just wanted to, there's a lot of newbies or not a lot of newcomers from Clubhouse on today's hotline, and I want to just explain. Keegley is a disposition company, so we are there to help you sell your wholesale deal for more. So if you are about to reach out to a seller and you want to know what you need to offer on a house in order for you to make money on it, you reach out to Keegley. I've got franchises across the country. In fact, Michael Espinoza is in the chat right now. He works directly with Thomas, who owns quite a few Keegley franchises. Reach out to Michael. Michael will assist you in finding the right rep. But we will give you buy numbers. We will tell you what number you need to lock your deal up so that we help you for more. This is not just for me to plug, so I'm going to stop talking, but reach out to Keegley and we'll help you know what you should lock your deals up at and bring you a buyer for your deal. And then you can give it to Rashell to transaction coordinate for you. So you don't even need to do anything anymore.
So true.
Here's an interesting question. Thoughts on wholesaling in Southern California? Just discovered wholesale a few days ago, and I'm wondering if I should generate leads in my own market, Los Angeles area, or pick a different market. So Jeremy Keach, if you look up Scott Oots, who's a personal friend of all of ours, Scott Oots probably does $400,000 to $500,000 a month in assignment fees out of Riverside and LA County. Okay, Riverside and LA County. So reach out to Scott Oots. Jamil and I are in a personal mastermind with the man. He is amazing, and Rochelle he's actually a sub-2 student. He taught his whole squad creative finance by bringing them through sub-2. The guy is a legend in the game. Reach out to Scott Oots. Rochelle, you've actually done some transactions with Scott's team, right? Or you guys have done some stuff together?
Yeah, we keep in touch. We definitely always looking for a good title and escrow, always tossing things his way. He's a great sounding board for things in California. So he's a great person to reach out to in regards to that area. So he's awesome.
Yep. Here's an interesting one. Rochelle, you want to read this one out loud and answer it for us?
Yep. So if I have leads who are in the pre-foreclosure and their auction date is tomorrow, it is likely that they won't be foreclosed on quite yet. So if I have leads who are in pre-foreclosure,
is it likely that they won't be foreclosed on quite yet? So they're basically what they're at. Dante's saying, hey, I have a house is getting foreclosed on tomorrow. Is it too late to stop the foreclosure?
No. I've done it the day before and the morning of. You just got to know what you're doing and who you're talking to. Like they were saying, they do not want to go to foreclosure. All you got to do is have the right documentation, send it in, and just stay on that phone. We've done it several times. It's not unrealistic. You know, it sounds crazy. Can you do it the morning of? Yes, but as long as you know what you're doing, you have the right documents, you can do it. Absolutely.
Can I tell you guys a secret? My company has probably stopped 200 to 300 foreclosures and saved a lot of families from foreclosure. Mm-hmm. In some of those situations, we've wholesaled those deals. In some of those situations, we've bought those deals and fix and flip them. And a lot of those situations, I'd probably say 50 of my rentals came from saving people from foreclosure. Not a single time did I stop the foreclosure. Either Rochelle or my wife, Laura, did. It is so time consuming and nerve wracking. I never want to put myself in that situation. That is where you hire somebody like a Rochelle or another transaction coordinator. But I ran into a transaction coordinator the other day that's never even heard of extending a foreclosure.
Yep.
Insane. It's the same thing. You know, Rochelle, it's the same thing when we bought that sub 2 deal on Whispering Grove in Vegas this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What happened the day before we were going to close escrow with the original title company? You remember?
Oh my goodness. Even though we vetted them in the beginning, there are some title people that just want the business and they'll just say yes without getting, their actual approval. They're not the decision makers. The escrows officers are not. And closing was the next day, was setting up Pace's mobile notary. They couldn't do the deal. They could not do the deal. So we had a seller ready to sign. We had the wire, everything getting ready to close. And I had to be on the phone. And luckily I connected with someone who's amazing. Whitney with Driggs Title out of Las Vegas, one of the best escrow agents. She gets it done. If you guys are looking for someone in Las Vegas, she is amazing. And luckily she was able to do it in a day. She took everything. We transferred over to the title company and she made it work. So, but that happens. It definitely happens.
Say hi, Jamil.
Hi, Neil.
Hi.
Say hi, Rochelle.
Hi, Sue.
Say hi, Brent.
Hi, Bud.
Say TTT.
Hey.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that deal, what was interesting about that transaction is the title company originally told us they could do a VA loan subject to.
yeah.
And what happened is the day before we were closing, they write an email to Rochelle and they go, we can't do this. We just found out it's VA. We're like, wait, we've been in escrow for 30 days. What are you talking about? Right. And so Rochelle, she reaches, I think you reached out to Casey Ryan, a friend of mine,
Yes.
a friend of the show. And
Mhm.
Casey Ryan's like, yeah, I use Driggs Title. You switched over to Driggs Title. And they were like, oh yeah, we do VA loan subject twos all the time. So here's the thing. That's another really important part of what Rochelle has done for me personally, my business, and also all the sub 2 students. And in the future, Astro, TTP students, et cetera, is that somebody will go, I don't have a good title company in this area. And Rochelle has probably done transactions nearby that she can direct you to the right title office or to the right closing attorney. And if she doesn't have the right person, she is probably going to be, by the end of 2021, Rochelle will be the most connected person in this entire country in terms of dealing with the highest producers in every single state. There's not going to be a closing attorney or there's not going to be a closing title company that she doesn't know that does every type of transaction. Wouldn't you say that that's the case, Rochelle?
Absolutely. We have to be. And, that's what's going to help our business grow. So we're excited about that. We were implementing things today in our meeting of how we can do that with better partners. And that's something that you're going to get working with this. So 100%.
I want to take this question from MTPTA, and I think this will actually tie in with Rochelle because I want to focus in on Illinois. And so in Illinois, we know that assignment contracts are not, you can't do more than one assignment if you're not a licensed agent. And so how can you help as a transaction? How can Constant Close help wholesalers do deals in states that are having more and more regulation? Do you have ways around it? Are you familiar with different forms of paperwork? How can you help our brothers and sisters in these areas that are coming under new regulation?
Absolutely. So we are familiar with paperwork. We can do contracts. I have my real estate license, so I've done it for a long time. So there's not many contracts that you can give me that I can't read through and know exactly what needs to be done. And plus, we have partners there. Whenever we have real estate people that we reach out to, that we also ask questions to. So we definitely find ways of having additional partners to make sure that we're doing things the right way, learning things. The real estate industry on that side of the contracts, we know they change all the time. So we're making sure that we're understanding everything, but we definitely can find a way to get it closed if in states like that, like with your scenario. Absolutely.
Wow. So essentially, by leveraging what Constant Close can bring to the table, you can help keep yourself continuing to do business in states where regulations are being passed. Rochelle, so essentially, let's just say in Illinois, you can't do more than one assignment. So then Rochelle could possibly help you maybe figure out how to do a novation agreement on that deal. Maybe figure out how to do a sub 2 on that deal. Maybe she helps you figure out how to do a double close. There are other options that Rochelle can help you navigate so that you're not having to worry so much about the impending regulation that could be coming in a market. you can more just focus on the lead generation and then leverage constant close to help you make sure that the mechanics of what you're doing are legal and forthright.
Absolutely. We want to be part of the toolbox, giving you ideas. It's creative real estate. That's what makes it fun. So we're able to offer that to our clients. So it's amazing. Especially when you find someone that doesn't know that they can do this. It's like these comments, what's novation? What's this and that? I mean, it makes my job so much fun to be able to say, no, there are other options. No, we can do this. And, and the end game is like building that wealth, helping people succeed. I mean, there's no better feeling than that. So I feel blessed that we're able to do it. It's great.
Rochelle, so Corbett and Tristan, who are sub-2 students, say, do you help set up the servicing company on seller finance and sub-2 during or after escrow? Rochelle handles all my servicing stuff. She's actually set up my servicing. And then when I made a decision to switch to a new servicing company, her and Cody switched all my servicing to a new servicing company. So I've put this girl through the ringer. In fact, when you get a call from me, it's usually something stupid I've done where I go, hey, I've got 2 deals I need you to fix that I did something wrong a year ago. Can you fix them? And you're like, no problem. I can fix them. So the answer is, do you set up servicing company before or after close of escrow? You actually set up servicing during escrow. There's actually a sheet that gets filled out during escrow. Title Alliance, who we use here in Arizona, I go down and I actually fill out the paperwork while we're closing escrow so that they know exactly. Is that correct everywhere, Rochelle?
Not everywhere, just based upon especially on the East Coast and things like that, they like to see the recorded documents. They're not going to set up servicing for you unless they see you on the warranty deed. So I would say generally about 75% we can do it through escrow, but most of the time, just like how we experience with Westar, they change their regulations, they change things up. And what I'm starting to see is that now they're wanting to see the recorded docs. You're setting up servicing, but do you have the right to set up servicing? How do you fall into this transaction? So I would say it depends on the state, but generally most of them you can do through escrow.
So anybody that doesn't know what a servicing company is, okay, let me explain that to you. Okay, when you buy a subject to or a seller finance deal and you're going to hold it long term, it doesn't matter what your exit strategy is. A lot of times your sellers will say, well, what protection do I have? Well, what we educate our students on is set it up with a servicing company, a third-party company that handles the money every single month and sends a report to the seller. In fact, what we'll do is maybe on this coming Sunday service, I'll show you guys a couple of servicing statements. I get them every couple of days from all my cash flow, my mailbox money. I get emails, and it's Westar or other servicing companies saying, you've received a payment, you've received a payment, you've received a payment. The seller also receives those emails, but a little bit different. It says, your mortgage has been paid, your mortgage has been paid, your mortgage has been paid. So it's nice to have that security for the seller. More often than not, the seller who cares about that is the seller who sells to you on seller finance. So they don't have to chase you for a check. It just automatically gets withdrawn from your bank account. The servicing company sends the money to the seller, and then the servicing company for $17 a month runs an automatic P&L on that property all the time. It does the checks and balances and makes sure that everybody's on time. And if they're not on time, they impose the late fee. The servicing company does a tremendous amount of help. Now, here's the interesting, this is a creative finance thing. I don't want to get too much in the weeds here. I apologize. But if I sell to a tenant on lease option and I give that tenant 5 years to execute that lease option, and I don't service my lease option with a servicing company, that tenant will go to a bank and say, I need to purchase this home with a new loan. But if it's serviced, they can actually get a refinance because the servicing company acts as if they've been making a mortgage payment along the whole way. So loan servicing companies for $17 a month, that's one of maybe 50 examples I can give you that a servicing company adds a lot of benefit to you after you've done the transaction. Another one would be that you don't have to track the money. Everybody hates tracking money. So why do it to yourself? Just pay somebody $17 a month on every property. We have a servicing company on every house I own. We don't pretend to want to ever have to track all that kind of stuff. So if you guys have more questions on the servicing stuff, we can talk about it on Sunday service on Sundays.
Rochelle, I want to bring you into. Are you free tomorrow by chance? Tomorrow afternoon, would you come into a Zoom call with my Astro students so I can explain how they can leverage you and use your services in micro flips and in our Astro flipping deals?
Absolutely, I would love to.
I'll send you some information on that, and we'll see you tomorrow. But Tosh, really quickly, to just give you a bird's eye view of that, the way that you would leverage Rochelle is, okay, so you've got a deal from a wholesaler, you've now found a buyer. But at this point, you've got an option with your wholesaler, and you have an assignment to your buyer. And so you need to convert all of these documents and have all of these documents brought to title, and now you need to make sure that the EMD is getting put in. So you would be plugging in Rochelle once you find the buyer. So as soon as you find the buyer, you call Rochelle and say, I found a buyer for a deal I'm marketing. I need you to now take over from this point. Bye. That's it. That's it. Yep. She handles converting all the options into assignments, takes all of those deals over to title, gets the deals completed, makes sure your buyer puts in their earnest money, actually helps you navigate that deal right to Rochelle, the amount of value that my students are going to gain from this is just incredible. I can see Brent shaking his head up there because he's already.
It's bananas. I've got like 3. Yeah. Yep.
This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So tomorrow, 4 p.m. AZ time, my team's going to send you a link, Rochelle.
Nice. Excited. That'll be awesome.
Hey guys, do yourself a favor. So Rochelle and I have been talking about this for the last 3 months. Okay. Coming to Astro and coming to TTP, setting up recordings and add it as a bonus module inside of your guys' training. We just talked about it again last week and saying, hey, what day can we record? And then New Year's and all that stuff got in the way. Anything you do with Rochelle, please make sure you record it for future students. Obviously, I know I know Jamil does that. But Brent, would you let us build a whole bonus module for your students in TTP and bring Rochelle in there and just break it all down in 15 different videos?
1,000%. I'm going to go bananas with this, Rochelle. You truly are the J-Lo of transaction coordination. You are. Look at you.
I love that. I love J-Lo.
Me too.
No, 100%, Pace. Listen, it is, this is huge. This is huge for anybody. And listen, upfront costs. That's the barrier to entry on this. And if you're doing your first deals and you're coming along and you're doing this thing here and there, find somebody to lend you it or say some help, because you're going to learn so much in one transaction about the things that you don't need to really worry about, that it's worth hundreds of thousands, if not millions, in that education of understanding. Stay focused on what you do. What you do is you go out and find deals. That's what we do. That's all. That's what wholesaling is. We source real estate opportunities. All right. Do you want to get paid wholesaling, or do you want to get paid doing transaction coordination? Well, you've got an option here, right? And I didn't even know this option existed until an hour ago. So my mind's spinning, Pace. You warned me. You warned me that this was going to be bananas. You did, and I was like, okay. And
honestly, we just haven't been ready for it. I don't run the company with Rochelle. I'm part owner in it. I don't run it. I let Rochelle do that. And then obviously she has some of the greatest minds behind Keegley helping out with the structure of it. And we just weren't ready because the sub 2 students, Rochelle has probably done 500 transactions for sub 2 students in the last 6 months. And so it's been a lot of work, working through all this stuff. And then I went back through in September and redrafted all of my creative finance documents. And I'm actually going to redraft them probably in March as well. So we had to go through a lot of stuff. And then literally like 2 weeks ago, Rochelle came to me. She goes, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Let's launch this out to the world. And so we're not going to really branch it too hard other than Astro and TTP right now. If you guys need help, obviously reach out to Rochelle, but we're giving discounts to Astro students and discounts to TTPers. Obviously discounts to sub 2 students because you're the OG group that was using Rochelle from the very beginning. Rochelle will be continually doing Zooms for the sub 2 students and Zooms for Astro and Zooms for TTP students, whoever wants to learn. And as she gains more and more momentum, we'll then add her as a bonus feature in other mentorships. But I don't think that's going to happen for another 3, 6, or maybe even 9 months as she gains more and more systems and processes to be able to handle everything. But she's ready for Astro and she's ready for TTP. So let's freaking go.
Let's go.
Woo, woo.
I love it.
Guys, for all of you that are new, that came from Clubhouse or just randomly saw us pop up on your YouTube feed, make sure that you're subscribed to Brent Daniels' YouTube channel, that you're subscribed to Pace Morby's YouTube channel, that you go to the Wholesale Hotline Facebook group and you add yourself to that Facebook group. Make sure that you're following Rashell on Instagram, Pace, Brent, and myself. We want to connect with you guys. We absolutely love connecting with each and every one of you. So make sure you reach out. Don't be a stranger. This is amazing. This has been one of my favorite.
Can I tell you guys something else I'm working on big time? Jory Alston, who's on the screen right here, good friend of all of ours. Jory Alston is, in fact, Jamil, the last time you probably saw Jory was in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
I've been talking to Jory today all day. We got some stuff where he's going to send me some stuff in Florida. We're like, bro, Jory and I are low-key homies.
So Jory, myself, Scott Horn, and Rashell Jarvis are creating a mastermind called the Creative Coalition. And what we're going to be doing is focusing on limiting our mastermind to only 4 of the highest volume creative finance buyers per state. It's going to be limited. The price to get into the mentorship is incredibly low, but the barrier is very, very high. We're only going to be bringing people on in every individual market that are buying sub 2, seller finance, doing novation agreements. Jory Alston, Scott Horn, who's been a creative finance attorney, RMLO, owns a servicing company, 35 years experience. Rashell Jarvis and myself are going to be the figureheads of this mastermind. And we're calling it the Creative Coalition. It's going to be huge. So if you guys have any deals nationwide, we're going to be partnering. This is the cool thing. We're going to be partnering with Keegley nationwide to help out with the creative finance disposition. It's the beginning of Keegley Creative is the massive buyers list of creative finance. So we've been working on it for a year. Jory Alston and myself have been talking about it for 6 months. We're bringing Rashell Jarvis in and Scott Horn, and it is going to be absolutely epic. You guys just wait until Keegley and Keegley Creative team up. It's going to be like 2 Power Rangers freaking blowing up like an atomic bomb of value. It's insane.
Brent, you want to take us home?
Yeah, I mean, what an incredible. This is the best show that we've had. I mean, we've had the best of the best of the best, but I think that this was the most value that we've given in 90 minutes. I truly do. And we're just, this is the first one of 2021. So to everybody out there, remember, education's fantastic. Instruction is beautiful. Entertainment is fun. But we got to go out and take action. We've got to take the action that you learned here. You've got to take the action of being able to go out there and solve the problems of the homeowners that are in distress in your marketplace. And that's what we get paid for. That's truly what we get paid for. That's the value we provide our community. On the back end, let Jamil's dog close us out. No, let Rochelle take care of the back end, take care of the stuff that's not the income producing activity. And to all the TTPers, to the sub 2, to the Astro guys, this is our year. It's going to be absolutely bananas. Squad up. Every TTPer, talk to the Astro guys. Every TTPer, talk to the sub 2 guys. You need to squad up. Look at us 3. I'm telling you, you got to squad up, and you got to have different people that are unbelievable at what they do and stay focused on what you do, and let Rochelle take care of all the rest. So I want to thank you. You're absolutely, I mean, my mind's blown. I think it's just incredible. Pace, crushed it. Jamil, crushed it. Good to see you. You're healing up. You're looking good. You have a good, yeah. You're still muted. You're still muted.
Oh, I said I have a club hand.
That's right. So,
guys, everybody do us a favor. If you got any value today, please email Rochelle at constantclose.com. And if you're a TTP student and you're an Astro student, you're going to be seeing a lot of Rochelle. We're going to be unleashing this on the world, not unraveling, unleashing this on the world over the 2021 year. Also, if you are amazing, we are looking for additional people for Rochelle to train as we grow this business in Constant Close. So if you have any experience in transaction coordinating and you want to get in the game, Rochelle is currently bringing on a few people. She has a lot of applications right now, but we're looking for just a few people. She just brought on somebody from Atlanta, amazing fit for the culture. And she's looking for one more person now and another person before the end of the quarter. So email Rashell Jarvis. If you're not the right fit, refer somebody to her that you think would be a good fit for her to train into another badass transaction coordinator. And that's all I got to say, folks.
Awesome.
Wholesale Hotline 46, guys. Unreal.
You
Good
guys
night.
are amazing. Thank you.